Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our new episode of Bios to Books. I'm your host, Dan Davidson. Before I introduce today's guest author, I'd just like to thank our loyal followers for their support. And if you are new to the show, welcome aboard. If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, please press the subscribe button and join now. It costs absolutely nothing, and it goes a long way for helping us on YouTube. Thank you.
America, where are you? So many ask. Is this land of the free not up to the task? There is an ache in my heart, the tears that I weep. Didn't find you when I woke up from sleep. Thought of the winds of freedom, ideally safe, blowing over our country, home of the brave. I need to feel you now, your soft caress. I need to feel you now, I must confess. I need you to wash away fear from the street and recover the ground that's beneath our feet. I need you to dry tears that wet my cheek. Have those winds return is what I see.
Wow, that was a great song with a message of love and respect for our nation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bios to Books. I'm your host, Dan Davidson. Today's guest is someone I'm looking forward to talking to, and I think you're going to enjoy him too. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's guest author, Richard Rocha. Welcome to the show, Richard.
Thank you, Dan. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this too. We're going to talk about a great song you wrote, and we're going to talk about your book.
Thank you.
Later on in the show. But what I usually do is give you some time to tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your life, where you were born, where you were raised, what schools you went to, what jobs you had before you started writing. I know you were in the Navy. In fact, I wanted to say something. I read your biography, and you and I are mirror images in so many ways, because you were in the Navy, I think, from 59 to 62, right?
Correct.
And I was in the Air Force from 60 to 64.
Okay.
We both raised three sons. You outdid me with grandchildren. I believe you have 12.
12.
And I have 12, and I have 8. But I beat you with great grandchildren. You have 3, I have 4. Unless you had another one I don't know about.
Well, two little girls.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're 5 now.
Okay, well, you're ahead of me there. You beat me on both ends. So, okay, but that's good. Congratulations on it.
Thank you.
It's always a special feeling to be a great-grandpa.
Yes.
I mean, it's great being a grandpa, but there's something about that great-grandpa. Yeah. First of all, for us to make it this long, that's pretty good. But anyway, I like to start. I'm going to turn the mic over to you, and you tell us whatever whatever you're comfortable with sharing. I don't want you, whatever you're comfortable with sharing. I just want to give the audience, a little bit of idea of what you're about, and how you got to where you went when you started writing and things like that. So I'm turning it over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. And I do appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. My name's Rich Rocha. I was born in January 1942. Country had just gone to war with Japan. My dad, uncles, brothers, my dad's brothers went to war. I was born in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Is this breaking up?
A little bit.
Yeah. I don't know if it's me or not.
Well, now you're coming in clear.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Backing up a little, I was raised by my mother and grandmother during the war years. like all his young men were, young children were. I grew up in New Bedford, Massachusetts, southeast of Boston. At the age of 15, my mom and my stepdad moved to California, and I still live here. I've had a good career. If you read the book, I mentioned I was a high school dropout, and I realized that there was a journey I needed to be on. So I went back to school. I went back to high school for 3 years, 5 nights a week, studies on Saturdays, got my high school diploma, and then I started going to junior college. And it all led to me having a good career with Pratt & Whitney. Started out sweeping floors, wound up as a facility manager. After I retired, I going through some notes about my life, and I started to put something together for my kids. And my oldest son, Richard, said, "Dad, write a book." I said, "No one's going to read my book." But I played around with it, and I found a company called Christian Faith Publishing. Now, I had to pay them because they call it vanity, editors. And that's how the Child of the Greatest Generation came about. And when I put the book together, I wanted to talk about my love of this country. And there's 13 stories in the book that I wrote. If you read the book, Dan, you know what I'm referring to.
Oh, I absolutely read the book,
Yeah.
and I thought it was fantastic. Every chapter.
Yeah.
I mean, I recommend that book to anybody who wants to teach their children a little bit about the history that they're not teaching today.
Yeah.
I totally recommend it, and I said so on Amazon. I mean, it's a great book.
Yeah, I appreciate the review. Very
welcome.
good review.
You're welcome.
I get a lot of compliments on the book, but the problem is if you're not a celebrity, it's hard to market your work, but all the comments have always been positive,
That tells you something right there.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a self-published author myself.
Yeah.
Not a vanity author, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I have to pay to get it published.
Yeah.
And there's so many challenges to it, and it is frustrating because if you're a celebrity, you usually have a ghostwriter with you, number one, and they do most of the work, and you automatically have a bestseller because you're somebody.
Yeah.
Other people, that's why I have this show. Other people who have so much talent and so much to say never get a shot. And I'm not saying this show is the answer. It's not. But it helps because it's so unfair the way things go. And, you know yourself, I don't know if you tried, but try to get a literary agent to represent you or try to get a big publishing house to publish your book. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not impossible, but it's almost impossible. That's why everybody is going to self-publishing, which I recommend. If you got something to say, write the book and worry about what happens later, because it's just the way the world is today. But I digress. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So anyway, after I got the book published, the first thing I did was I bought one for every member of my family. So I was the first book buyer. And a little, it started getting attention. Joe Piscopo in New York got the book, and I did a radio interview with him.
I heard that interview. It was a great interview. I had met Joe once before. He's a wonderful guy. And,
great.
I thought your interview was excellent with him.
Yeah. And so I got a little pushback on the book. I mean, sales went up, but I reached out to other celebrities. It was difficult.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, without getting into politics, which I'm not going to do.
No.
There is a reason why it's difficult with celebrities overall.
Yeah.
There are some that are very, very into what you have to say, and there's others that are totally blind to it. So, whatever it is, that's probably the reason you don't get the response you should get.
Right. And then the book kind of led me to the song that I wrote. One of the stories in my book is Where Are You, America?
Right.
And it was kind of, gave me the thought, I need to do something more. And I've never written a song in my life. And so I sat down and put it together, changed things here and there. And I'm thinking, how can I get this into a song? I'm not a singer, just a songwriter.
Right.
And there's an online company for people like us called yoursongmaker.com.
Right.
And I sent it to them, and they produced it, but they don't market it. They give you a link to Spotify and streaming sites.
Right.
So I do my own marketing of the songs. And I've got some good feedback. Made a friend. His name is Joe Bonzel. He's with the Oak Ridge Boys.
Okay.
Love the songs. So I get a little help from him.
Oh, good.
But
Good.
it's like the book. If you're not a known name, it's difficult.
It is. It's very difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've listened to the song several times, and so has my son Keith, and we thought it was terrific. It kind of like sent a great message of love and respect for your nation and your country, and I thought it was really good.
Well, I when I thought about the songs, I was remembering when I was a kid and how I was raised, and how people were in my town, in my neighborhood, and it's changed, and I just wanted to raise an awareness that we're a good country.
Right.
We're
not perfect, but we are good.
We're not perfect. Never going to be.
Never going to be. Right.
But we got to love each other. We got to make it work.
Right. What we're talking about the book now. Child of the Greatest Generation.
Correct.
And I read the book, like I said, I thought it was terrific. But what chapter in that book was the most difficult to write, and what chapter was the most rewarding for you to write?
I think the hardest one to write was when I mentioned I dropped out of high school at 17.
Okay.
I've carried that for a long time as a young man, and when I got married and our first child came along, I realized that I needed to do something different in my life. Low-paying jobs wasn't going to cut it. Right. And no one was going to help me but myself. And that was difficult to tell that truth.
Right.
But, that was the most difficult. The most rewarding, I think, was when I finally started getting a career with Pratt & Whitney, and people started noticing me.
Right.
Because of my talents, but nothing was handed to me. I worked for everything, and so it gave me a good life, gave my wife and children a good life, and so that was probably the most rewarding, and that is an American dream.
Definitely. Yeah.
And that's how I looked at it.
Especially when you start at the bottom.
Yeah.
And you do it all yourself. There's no greater reward than that. I mean, everybody gets a little help, but when you do most of it on your own, it's such a great feeling of accomplishment. And, young people today don't get that.
No.
They want everything handed to them, and they don't realize what they're missing by not doing it themselves and earning it themselves. It's a reward that you can't explain until you've experienced it. And, and they just don't get it. I mean, most of them, not all of them. I mean, hopefully my grandchildren and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren get it. But, it's difficult to instill in people, young people, who aren't getting that same coaching or, what's the word I'm looking for, encouragement. Other places. It's difficult, but I thought the getting back to the book, I thought, to me, the most interesting chapter, because I love history.
Yeah.
To me, the most interesting chapter was your conversation between the 4 presidents on Mount Rushmore. I thought that was just fantastic. And I love all four of those presidents, so I was even more intrigued by what they might say if they were talking together. And I thought it was great. I thought it was right on the money, right?
Yeah.
If you look at their backgrounds and what they believed in, I thought it was right on the money.
Yeah. Over the years, before I wrote the book, I would see a photograph or a painting, and I look at them because they tell stories.
Right, sure.
It's not just a picture you're looking at. Now, I can't get in the head of the person that painted it or took the photograph, but I try to put a story that it's telling me. And when I look at Mount Rushmore, I'm thinking, what if these four great presidents could step down from Mount Rushmore, sit at a table, have a conversation?
Right.
And so I tried to get into each of their heads of what was going on during their time and how it blended into the next president on Mount Rushmore.
Right.
And it was hard putting together.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to look into their heads and see how they would have, perceived things and what
done
they
differently.
did. Yeah. And I mean, they all had their crises. They all had their challenges. I mean, of course, George Washington, I mean, he had the biggest challenge at the beginning, making this into a nation. And Thomas Jefferson, supported that by writing the Declaration of Independence and helping form the country the way they did. And then, of course, Abraham Lincoln, I mean, you don't get much better than that, what he went through from 61 to 65. I mean, it was tough on him with the Civil War and everything. And he managed to survive it, but I don't know how he did it. And here's a guy that was self-educated himself.
Yes.
I mean, here's a man that had no education and just kept reading books, and he became president of the United States. What's a better encouragement than that?
Correct.
It was just amazing. And then, of course, Teddy Roosevelt's one of my favorites. He just had a way about him. I retired from the New York City cops, so I don't remember him as commissioner, but I remember seeing pictures hanging in police headquarters of him when he was the police commissioner.
Yeah.
He was quite a gentleman, and he didn't take no crap from nobody. I like that.
Carry a big stick.
Yeah, he did. He used it when he had to.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But yeah, I thought that was a great part of the book, and of course, the chapter or the segment on the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. That's always intrigued me. Always, it's it's just a sacred ground, and just asking yourself, I wonder who that first soldier was.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, he came from some family somewhere that doesn't even know he's there. Well, they're probably not long gone themselves, but it's just I thought you wrote that very well. I like that part.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of visiting Arlington Cemetery a number of times, and I always went by the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Yeah, it's a sight to see.
Yeah, and I often wondered what he would think being entombed, and that's what I tried to write. But
Yep.
Yeah.
And what would he think if he saw what's going on right now?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But, it's interesting to look at what you had and what you have now. And what the reaction would be if people from, even soldiers and sailors and Marines from the First and Second World War that are long gone now, most of them, and a few left, but not too many, what would they think about what's going on today in the world? I don't think they'd recognize it. I really don't. I think it would upset them. And, like I said, we stay away from politics, but I think a lot of patriotism in this country has kind of, I would say dwindled, but it's lessened because of other, variables that have happened in the last few years. So I wonder what they would think of, they gave their lives or at least a portion of their lives to sacrifice for our country. And, even Veterans Day and things like that, I mean, it just doesn't seem the same anymore. People don't realize what the sacrifices were. You help it in your book. But I'm saying people don't realize the sacrifices these men and women made. The women at home, most of running the defense factories and trying to juggle that with their families, and the men overseas fighting, sacrificing their lives for this country. People just don't realize what it means. It's just words now when people talk about it. It's just words. And that's sad. It really is, because, I'm a big one on supporting the veterans, not just because I am a veteran, but they deserve that. They always deserve that. And we fall short of that today, I think. There's still a lot of people that thank you for your service, because when I go around and I'm wearing my Air Force hat, and I don't wear it for that reason, but I just wear it, I get a lot of thank yous, thank you for your service and stuff. So I'm not looking for that, but it's nice that there's people that think that way.
Yes, that's great.
It is great. But, before we get on to anything else, you mentioned something about two things that, again, a mirror image of your life and mine. You said you were raised mostly by your grandmother and your mother in the early times. And you know what? That was me too. Yeah. Same thing. And then also you said that your mother remarried and you had a stepfather, right? Same thing with me.
Wow.
So, it's almost like I'm following your steps there.
Yeah.
Parallel. It is. Yeah. So, okay, Rich, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
So, you mentioned about people sacrificing during the war years.
Right.
My mother worked in a clothing factory making Army uniforms. And her job was to sew the sleeves on the big overcoats that the Army wore during the winter months.
Yeah, and that was a heavy coat.
And they weren't paid by hour. It was the number of coats she sewed.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think I mentioned in the book, I remember seeing the scars on both her wrists because she had to have operation. And that's before anybody knew what carpal tunnel was.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's way before that,
And so that's she gave a lot for the war years.
Yeah.
And, of course, everything was rationed, I don't know too much about that because I was so small.
Yeah.
But the stories,
I don't remember too much either, but I remember, was it Meatless Tuesday or something?
Oh, yeah, there was so many things.
Yeah.
But the people gave their all.
Yeah, they did. They did, and they thought nothing of it. They thought they were supposed to do that.
No.
It was they weren't looking for praise. They just said, "This is what I got to do. I'm an American. I love my country, and we're going to help any way we can."
Correct.
Yeah, it's just I watch these old documentaries. I don't pay much attention to the Hollywood versions of the war. I mean, yes, some of it's accurate, like the beginning scene in was it Saving Private Ryan at Normandy?
Yes.
They get you a little bit, but I watch the documentaries because you can't fake them, and I'm amazed at how these men did what they did. I mean, I'm trying to picture myself charging the beach of Normandy with all of this machine gun fire and rockets and everything else coming at me. I'm saying, how did these guys do it? I don't know it. I just don't know. And I mean, yes, we've always made sacrifices in war, whether it's the Civil War, even the American Revolution, and the First World War, Second World War, Korea, Vietnam, and even to the Middle East today. We always make sacrifices. Don't get me wrong, and I appreciate everything these soldiers do. But I'm just saying, the Second World War, watching what happened in the Pacific with the war against the Japanese Empire, and watching what happened in Europe, it's just incredible to me the courage these guys had. Just incredible.
And fighting in two different theaters of war at the same time.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
It is. I don't think we'll ever see a generation like that again.
No.
And I'm not taking it away from the young people today, because the ones that are in service today still make sacrifices and they still do the right thing. I'm just talking about overall. Like you said, we were fighting on two fronts. The world was truly at war, and we just did an amazing job. As that generation did an amazing job of what they, it's just. So I'll always say hats off to them, always.
Yeah, and I tried to instill that in my sons and grandkids. I got 3 grandkids in the military right now.
Oh, okay.
My oldest grandson, he's a tech sergeant, security forces.
Okay.
I have a granddaughter that's Air Force, and she's in medical. And another grandson, California National Guard, and he's over in Iraq right
Oh boy. Okay. Well.
Yeah. But they were raised understanding what patriotism
Sure.
meant.
Sure. Sure.
And they volunteered.
Yeah. Well, I listen. That's a credit to you and his parents. Well, their parents for instilling that kind of patriotism. You know, it's not easy today. Was it like I don't even know what the percentage of the American population that's in the military, but it's very low. I know that.
Oh, we got to connect.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. My screen went blank.
Oh, okay. You're back now, though. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know what the percentage of people in the military from the population, but it's nowhere near what it used to be. That's for sure.
Right.
So I don't know, but anyway, like I said, I recommend the book to anybody that wants to get a feel of what history really was about, not only overseas but also on the home front. I think it's a history lesson in itself, and I definitely recommend people to read the book. It's
Thank
really
you.
good. So I don't know what you want to. Do you want to talk about the song a little bit? Because like I said, I've heard it several times, and I'm just amazed at it. I thought it was a great song, and I can see you wrote it from your heart. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You felt every word that you put down there.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great song. But maybe you want to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It was a difficult song to write because the emotions I was feeling with the way our country seemed to be turning into another direction, and the homelessness and all that, and not going into politics.
No,
and I don't feel the song attacks politics.
No, I don't think it does either. No.
I tried to express that we're all in this together, and we need to be together. In fact, the song ends with the closing verse is "Black and white, a dream of one." That was Dr. King.
Right.
And that's how I end the song.
Right.
And I think once people hear it, they'll understand there's so much more to this country. And so it's doing okay.
What you say when they hear it, but the problem is, Rich, they need to do more than hear it. They need to listen to it.
They need to listen to it.
It's a story. And if you don't listen to it and you just hear it, it's like just another song on a radio or whatever the case may be, on YouTube or wherever it is, on what you say, Spotify and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just another song. But if you listen to the words and you listen to what the song is about, you'll get something out of it.
Yeah, I've had people tell me I've listened to it and I have those same thoughts, same feelings.
Yep.
So that encourages me.
Sure. And even if they're not on the same plateau as you as far as politics go, it still sends a message to those people about the country and that we need to get together and we need to do the right thing to make this country, stabilized again. I mean, the message is pure and it's solid. So even if you don't agree politically with someone, I think they can still get something out of the song.
Sure. You just got to be civil. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Man has debated man for time began.
Absolutely. Since they first could correspond. Yes, you're right.
So we're always going to debate.
Yep.
But we should never walk away without shaking hands.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, sure. I agree 100%. And that song does help it. If
I hope so.
If people do more than just hear it and they listen to it.
Right.
It will. They'll come back. They'll come out with something positive. That's for sure. So, I have a couple. I always have a few questions.
Sure.
From the audience that are always typical. But before we get into that, is there anything else you have any projects? You're working on now. You have any books coming out in the near future? Anything you want to talk about? Go ahead.
I'm trying to put a second song, and it's difficult. And, it's hard. I sit there in my mind, I know what I want to say, and then I try to rhyme it, and that's difficult, you know. The song that I'm thinking of, the title I have right now, and it could change, is By Choice. And it's a patriotic song. In other words, I'm here, I live here by choice.
Right.
You know, I'm an American by choice, whether born here or naturalized.
Right.
So I'm trying to put that to a song format, you know, and I don't know if I'll ever get it finished, but that's my project right now.
What do you find differently about writing a song as opposed to writing a book?
Writing the book was based on memories, emotions, feelings. A song comes close, but it's the format of a song versus a paragraph of literature.
Right.
And so it's a little more difficult for me. I've been wondering how these songwriters write song after song after song, beautiful music,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so I struggle with that. But writing a book, I could write another book overnight, you know?
And you don't
And I
find
may.
it. Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you have anything in line that you're thinking about doing?
Well, I don't want to go political,
No. But I
but
mean,
I'm thinking of, I live in California,
right.
and I came here at 15. That was 1957. Finished school out here, went in the military here. I'm still in California, but it's not the state that I fell in love with.
Right.
And there's so much good about this state. There is. And, you know, and I want to be able to tell a story about it. How a young boy came to California, no money in his pocket, mom and dad had no money, made a life. We did it on our own. And no welfare, nothing. But the opportunities that California offered at that time are not here now.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Well, that's sort of like comparing the past to the present, right? Is that
Yeah.
what we're talking about?
Yeah.
I remember going out to California when I was 5 or 6 with my mother. She was offered a job in NBC Studios out there because she worked in NBC Studios in New York. That's where I'm originally from. I'm sure you can tell by my accent.
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
You and I.
But anyway, so we went out there in 48, I believe in 48 or 49. I think it was 5 or 6 or something like that. And to me, that's the way I picture California. I mean, the orange groves, the warmness of the cities, and especially L.A. I mean, nothing like it is today. And it was just a beautiful place to be. And I would have loved my mother to say, you know, let's move out here. I thought it would have been great, but it didn't pan out for her the way she wanted to. So she came back to New York to stay in NBC in New York. And so we never got to stay out there. But I was out there like for about maybe 5 or 6 months, and I thought it was great. I mean, of course, I was only 6 or 7, so what do I know? But I thought it was great.
When we came to California, we settled in San Jose. Population was maybe 100,000.
Right.
You could drive to San Francisco, 2-lane road, orchards on both sides. Today, we're a couple million people, and we match LA traffic.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you do. Yeah, I remember we were living in. Oh boy, I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's a very popular town outside LA. I can't think of the name. It escapes me right now. But
that's right.
What it was back then, as it is, if you go to that town now, that city now, it's totally different. Totally. Just amazing. It's just, I mean, it's not just California. I mean, I'm originally from New York, and I'll tell you right now, politics or no politics, I would never move back to New York. I mean, when I was there, probably, let me see, from 43 to 94. So what's that? Like like about 50 years, something like that.
Something like that.
Once
Yeah.
I left there, I had no intention of going back, none at all, because
No,
it's totally different, totally different.
my wife and I love New York City. We've been a number of times. Been to there just to visit 9/11 site. It's a sacred place,
Yeah.
and anytime we're in New York, we go there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's it's an amazing sight to see, and
Yeah,
I mean, through tragedy comes
Yeah.
beauty, I guess. But you know, it's something we'll never forget. That's for sure.
yeah,
But yeah, like I said, I think every state, just about every state and every city in those states has changed. I mean, that's what life is about. Change. Sometimes it's for the positive, sometimes it's for the negative,
yeah.
and you have no control over that. All you can do is try to make your contribution to wherever you are more positive. That's all you
That's
can
right.
do. And or you may be outnumbered. You may be, pushed to the side, but doesn't stop you from continuing to believe what you believe and pushing for that. You know,
Yeah, no,
and, you know,
that's true.
yeah.
I told someone one time. He asked me, he says, "What if you're having a debate with 4 or 5 people, and it's not going well?" And I said, "It went well if one agreed with me."
Right.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's debate is good. I'm the first one for debate. I mean, I don't want to debate somebody that agrees with me. I want to debate somebody that doesn't agree with me.
Well, I didn't mean that as a negative.
No, I know you didn't, but
Yeah.
I'm saying that's the way I feel about
Yeah.
it. I want to debate somebody that's totally on the opposite side, but I want it to be a fair debate. I don't want it to get hostile.
There you go.
I don't want them to start calling me names
Yeah.
or telling me what a loser I am. I just want you to tell me why you think you're right, and I'll tell you why I think I'm right. And if we don't agree at the end, we just depart friendly. That's all. Friendly
Yeah.
depart.
The way it used to be.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. I mean, today the only thing you get out of debate is hostility, whether it's coming from the one side or the other. It's hostility, and that's not good. It doesn't improve anything. It doesn't allow progress, no matter what, and
I hear you.
it just stifles everything, and it's not healthy. It's just not healthy. But again, I want to stay away from that.
Oh, no, I hear
side
you.
of thing. But
It's hard. It's hard.
it
but
is
yeah.
hard because I'm very passionate, like you are, Rich. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say I love my country. I'm not ashamed to say I love my flag. I'm not ashamed to say I put my heart on my hand on my heart when I hit it. When I hear
Both
the
of us.
anthem. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's just. I'm not ashamed of any of that, and I'll never will be, no matter what happens. So as far as that goes, I don't apologize for anything, and I'm sure you don't either.
I won't. I won't give in.
No, and it's not. It's not. Like I said, it's not. Well, you see this flag behind me. That's not just a prop for today. That's what my son uses for his show too. That's always there because
Great.
him and his wife feel the same way. And I mean, and I'm not saying we're always right because I'm not. There's times I'm wrong, but it has nothing to do with patriotism or love of my flag or my country. Nothing.
Yeah,
nothing to do with that.
we form opinions when we hear things.
Yeah,
Now, it could be the wrong opinion,
sure.
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 And we may find out later, okay, I guess I was wrong.
Yep.
And I'm not ashamed to admit that,
Yeah.
you know.
Move
But-
on from that. That's
yeah.
it. You learn more from your mistakes than you do from accomplishments because you think about it more.
Yeah.
Why did I think this way? What was I thinking when I believed in this? You study your own mind to see
Yep.
where you went wrong. But when you're right about something, you just pass it on to the next. Oh well, I was right about that.
Yep.
So you learn more from mistakes than you do from
Yeah. It's all about
positive
free.
behavior.
It's all about free thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, the audience that I usually have on here always has a couple of questions at the end. So I've kind of always used 2 or 3 of those questions
Okay.
for the authors to see what they think and what they believe as far as writing a book and how to get it marketed and everything. So the first question that always comes up, we kind of covered that a little bit already, but that's all right. The first question that always comes up is, do you think self-publishing is the way to go if it's impossible for you to get your book recognized by a literary agent or a big publishing house?
Yeah, I reached out to several publishing houses and never got replies, but I didn't give up. So I do a little online searching and looking for ways to get the book published. And I think people need to do that. Don't give up. I look at it this way. I did pay to have my book published. And if I sell one, if I sell 100, I published it, I wrote it, and I'm proud of it.
As well you should be. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So if you're an author listening, don't give up.
That's good advice. That's exactly the way I feel about it too. So the second question usually comes up is, how much stock or value do you put in Amazon reviews as far as an author goes?
At first, I wouldn't even look at them because I wasn't getting a lot. I don't get that many anyway.
Yeah.
The ones I have been very positive. Barnes and Noble, nothing over there.
Yeah.
But Amazon, it helps, I guess. I'm going to do a marketing program using your review to see if I can generate interest as a history book.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes.
That's exactly what it is.
Yep.
It's a record of history, and we don't want anybody changing history. I know they're trying to, but we don't want that. So everything we get on that side is a positive, as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think it's a history book. Absolutely.
But again, anybody that's thinking about writing a book, do it. Even if you only get one reader, just the feeling that you put a piece of work together based on your experiences, your life, whatever, even if it's nonfiction or fiction, you wrote it, and just stay with it.
That's good advice. I mean, I'm on my 5th book, and
God bless you.
I don't have a blockbuster yet. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, I get some good. I don't get a lot of reviews anymore. I used to get like 35, 40 reviews on my first couple of books, but
sure.
I'm down to a handful now. But people just don't want to give out reviews anymore, and I don't know why. They don't have the time, or they're not reading as much. I don't know. I'm bedazzled by it. I just don't understand it all, because I mean, I'm a reader from way back, and I don't understand why it's so difficult to do a review.
I know.
Even if you didn't like the book, because authors will tell you, if you didn't like my book, say so in the review.
Yeah.
It still helps me. You know, so just give me a review, but it doesn't work that way so much. But like you said, do it anyway, whether you get one review or you sell one book. If you wrote the book, it's what you wanted to see. You had something to say it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. And I agree with that. That's good advice, 100%.
And like I tell my kids, that book's going to still be here even when I'm gone.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's a record for posterity. Yeah,
Yep.
definitely. Yeah.
Yep.
The other question that a lot of times, especially the new authors, the ones they seem to be frustrated, and understandably, I've been there myself. They want to know, what's your best tool or method of marketing a book, your book?
Marketing it? Mm-hmm. I've done a lot of different ways. On Facebook, I join a lot of the book clubs where you can promote.
Yeah, I've been there too. Yep.
Yeah. I go online looking for outlets that I might be able to market the book without spending a fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them want to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, it does. Some of them are reasonable, anywhere between, $35 and $75 to do it, but others want a lot of money.
Yeah. And I've done both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't done the big bucks. I've
done not the big bucks. No, I haven't done that.
Yeah. But
local newspaper, if I take an ad. We have in our community a social site called Nextdoor.
Right.
And it's mostly the neighborhood that I live in.
Right.
And I marketed my book on there, and I got 2,000 people feedback.
Wow.
Now, has that turned into sales? I don't know.
Wow,
You know,
that's amazing.
yeah,
That's a good number.
but they say, I liked your ad. I'll check it out. You know,
Okay. Well,
so
I mean, you're not going to get 2,000 people to buy
no,
your book, but
no,
even if you get 20 or 10% of that,
yeah.
it's still a home run. Doesn't matter. Yeah, sure.
But the fact that someone read my post,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
and I see the same thing on Twitter or X now,
Right.
and on Truth Social.
Right.
Another site is called MeWe. They have book clubs.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah, they're a small social site,
Okay.
but they have a number of book clubs. And so I join them, and then they allow you to post once a day.
Right.
You know.
That's like I don't know if you ever heard of Reader's Rest or
No, I hadn't.
yeah, try that one out too.
Okay.
In fact, the guy that runs that site, Ian McDonald, he I know him for a lot. He's an author too.
Okay.
He's very friendly, and he'll help you out with your book. Reader's Rest.
Okay. Reader's Rest.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, I'll check that out.
Yeah. Now, the last question I want to ask you that usually they ask me is how much value do you put in paying somebody to edit your book as opposed to using software or something to self-edit yourself?
In my case, I self-edited. I bought a program, Grammarly.
Oh, that's what I have. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of I have two of them, but that's
yeah.
one of them.
I use that quite a bit. A lot of it I knew how to do. My mother wanted to be an English teacher.
Well, that's a home run right there.
Yeah, but she never made it. But
That's all right. She still knew what she was doing.
yeah, in fact, I kid around when people ask me about writing the book,
Right.
and I spelled something wrong or I punctuated wrong. I said, "Oh, Mom just hit me in the back of the head."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so a lot of it was what my mom taught me.
Yeah, which is
You know,
good.
Yeah,
I
But-
just regret that when I was in high school, excuse me, when I was in high school, the one class I didn't pay attention to was English, grammar,
yeah,
punctuation and stuff. I was great in literature, and I was great in composition, but the actual grammar itself, punctuation, spelling, thing, I sucked at.
I did well.
Now I kick myself for it because
Yeah.
I'm still learning now through Grammarly and my own, education.
Yeah.
On how to correctly edit a book. And boy, if I would have known that back then, I would have saved so much agony. My first book, I actually had it edited. I paid to get it edited, but when you pay an editor, they only edit what you ask them to edit.
Okay.
So unless you want to pay more money. So when I got it back, it read great to me, but one of the criticisms I got, with all the positive feedback I got on Amazon, was always, it needs more editing. It needs more editing. And I said, my God, I pay for this editing. And then I look at it, I go, you know what? I didn't pay for this part, which in this case happened to be, I believe, punctuation at the time. So, it's frustrating when you got a book that people like to read, but they say it needs more editing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I know where you're coming from with this.
Yeah, I was worried about that when I first wrote the book, and I didn't have the program I mentioned.
Right.
And I'd reread it and I'd make corrections, and I was surprised when I did finally get the Grammarly program
Right.
what I missed,
Yeah. It's amazing.
and it really cleaned it up.
Yep. Yep.
So I recommend that.
Yeah, I think I like Grammarly too. I think I use another one called Pro Writer, I think. Or something
Yeah, I've
like
seen that.
Yeah, I stay 90% with Grammarly.
Yeah,
I like it. It's simple. They catch the things that I miss. And
Yeah.
that's what I want. So that's good. Yeah.
and it's good with spelling too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
because we all will misspell something.
Oh yeah. You know what? You know yourself. You read newspaper articles. You read something on the web or something in a book, even a bestseller. You can find mistakes. They're
Oh
there.
yeah, I see it all the time.
Oh, absolutely. And, even news programs that write an article about a particular event, I could find 2 or 3 misspelled words in there.
Yeah,
And these are people that they're supposed to be top of the line, and they get all the quality editing, and they still make mistakes. So
Yeah, major newspapers
yep,
make big errors.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I'm not too hard on myself.
No.
I was told by an English teacher many years ago. He wrote for Reader's Digest. He was an elderly gentleman. He had to be in his 70s when he was still teaching. And he said to me, Dan, this is the one thing you have to know if you want to be a writer. The most important thing about writing a book is writing it. He says, you have to write the book. He says, if you worry about what people are going to think, if you worry about mistakes you made, the book is not going to flow. Write the book first, and then worry about that stuff later. Because the most important thing is what's in your head and what you want to put down on paper.
Right.
And if you do that, you got half the battle won already. He says everything else is fixable. Yeah, you may make mistakes with spelling. He says you make mistakes with punctuation, and he looked at me like, you know what I'm talking about. I go, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but and he said that's the most. So write, like you said, talking to the audience, write the damn book. Don't worry about anything else.
That's
Just
right.
write the book, and then see where you are from there. And
that's how I approached it. I wrote my whole book on a tablet,
okay,
and I would sit there typing, read it, make a few corrections,
right.
and I did that, and it took me. It's not a big book, as you know, but it still took me better than a month to get it where I liked it.
Yeah, sure.
Then I began the editing.
Yep.
You know, but I wrote the book first, just like you said.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, nothing comes out perfect when you finish the first draft.
No.
I mean, nothing comes out perfect.
No.
But you got the story is there. It just has to be tweaked. The story is there. Your story is there, and that's what counts. And that's what I think this English teacher was trying to tell me. That's what counts for everything. The story is now there. It's been born. Now you just got to, groom it a little bit. And I thought that was good advice.
Yeah.
To this day, I think about that.
No,
And
I
think
agree
it was
with
good
you.
Advice. Yeah. So, like I said, we're going to. I want to share. And you correct me if I'm wrong on these, okay? But I want to share the availability of A Child of the Greatest Generation. You can get it on Amazon.com and also Barnes and Noble. Is that correct?
Those are the two main ones. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and if people want to ask more questions about the book, they can get you at richrocha158@gmail.com.
Correct.
Okay, I'll read that again. richrocha158@gmail.com.
Correct.
That's if you want to talk to Rich about anything with the book. Now, also, Winds of Freedom, the song that we talked about, is available on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and YouTube Music.
That's correct.
Just search for Winds of Freedom remix by Richard C Rocha, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and I see underneath the picture I have of the song, AmericanPatriot.world. What would that be for?
That's my website.
Okay, that's even better. Okay, so
Yeah.
people want to get on your website and see what you're all about. It's AmericanPatriot.world.
Correct.
That's great. Okay.
There's a lot of good stuff there.
I'm sure it is. Actually, I shouldn't say I'm sure it is. I've been on it. I didn't know that was the address, but in
Yeah.
one of our emails, you gave it to me.
Correct.
So I was on it. I also saw the interview with Joe Piscopo. I heard it, and I thought it was great. He gave you a chance, and he didn't cut you short.
No,
But he's a great guy anyway.
he is. I like him. Yeah.
He's a quality guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked in security for a big company, and we were doing a show in Vegas, and he was doing a poker tournament
Okay.
for our company. It was like a charity event. So I was staying with him for a while until we got him settled. And he was so gracious and so pleasant. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah, he's very down to earth.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He kind of thinks like you and I, so I like that too. We won't get into that, but
No,
yeah.
we had a private talk after we were off air.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. But so, okay, well, Rich, I think we're kind of about out of time.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to say in closing before we say goodbye?
I just want to appreciate the opportunity. I was a little nervous. Hopefully,
You did fine.
yeah. We'll look forward to seeing what Keith puts together.
Right.
And I'll be reading your books. Now that I know, I wasn't aware of what you had written, but I'm doing a little research.
Okay, we'll start with one of the short ones, in case you don't like them. The last one that I had out is a short book.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so, all right, Rich, it's been a pleasure, really. I wish
I've
you the
enjoyed
best.
it.
I wish you the best of luck in the future. Keep writing, whether it's songs or books, just keep writing. And maybe we'll do another one next year. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
You know, but it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. And
Yeah,
thank you.
keeps the mind healthy.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
You're right.
again, Dan, thank you.
All right, take care of yourself.
Take care. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. My name is Keith Davidson, owner of RCJ Productions. I want to thank you for watching this episode of Bios to Books with self-published author and songwriter Richard Rocha. Richard wrote Child of the Greatest Nation and the song Winds of Freedom. You can find Richard's book on Amazon.com. You can listen to The Winds of Freedom on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and on YouTube. To learn more about Richard or to contact him, visit him at AmericanPatriot.world. If you're in the market for new books to read, check out some of these great authors and their works, many who have appeared on Bios to Books. Be sure to also check out books from Dan Davidson and Rich Marcano, Butterfly Wish, Twice Upon a Time, Soul of Juby Walker, and their latest release, So Gently Goes the Hummingbird. If YouTube and podcast are your thing, please check out some more RCJ productions such as Coffee Table Chronicles, Highway to Your Health, and many more. If you're interested in starting your own podcast or YouTube channel, please contact RCJ Productions for all of your audio and video needs. Thank you for watching Bios to Books.
Cover the ground that's beneath our feet. I need you to dry tears that wet my cheek. Have those winds with